Hello, my name is Tom, and in this video I will solve SquareCells puzzle number 36, the final one. That's a really nice one, I think. It's a good conclusion to the series of 36 puzzles, because it really requires different techniques combined in a nice way. So let's start off here by taking these squares away, because we have a group of 1 square, here also a group of 1 square. Then the group of 4 and 3 connected squares can't touch. Also the group of 6 and 7 connected squares can't touch. And that's it for the group clues, I think. So let's look at the column clues. We have 1 square, gap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 1 gap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this, sorry. Or from the bottom side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you don't know why I am marking these squares like this now, please look into my previous videos. I do this a couple of times and I always explain in more detail. Now I don't want to anymore because it will just take too long and it's tedious. Okay, here we have at the top of the column 2 connected squares, so let's mark them like this. This one has to be a separate square, so let's delete the touching squares in the column. Here I don't have any clue yet, here also not. Here we have a separate square at the top and 6 connected squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this, actually like this. If we count from here, 1 gap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now since the 6 connected squares in this column will also complete the group of 6 connected squares that is here, where we have marked squares here, we can't touch the neighboring columns, right? Because that would destroy the group of 6 connected squares, so I can delete these squares already. And we move on here. We have 1 square here and a gap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And from the other side, 1, 2, gap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 also. Okay, 1 and 2 doesn't help, 1, 1, 1 helps here because it has to be a separate square. Here we need 1 separate square at the end or at the bottom of the column, so we have 1 separate square here only, and there's only 2 connected squares up here, so I can delete these squares. Here I only have separate squares, so I can delete this square and this square. And in this column, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And from this side, 1, 2, gap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, in this column, that's not the whole story, because let's see what happens if the 6 squares would be positioned like this. We would have a group of 7 connected squares touch a group of 4 connected squares, so that's not possible. I can delete this square also, and that means that the group of 6 connected squares will at least reach 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares down here. Okay? So let's look at the group hints. By now, here this group of 3 connected squares can only be completed like this. This group of 4 connected squares has to move here. It's 2 connected squares here, so at the bottom of this column, so I can do this. And this square has to be a separate square, so I can delete this one, and the group of 4 connected squares is completed like this. Here I can do the same thing, basically. The group of 4 connected squares has to move here. We have 2 connected squares at the top, so that has to be like this. And here I only have separate squares, so let's delete this one. I will also delete this one already. So the group of 4 connected squares here can only be completed like this. Okay, so let's go through the rows first. Yeah, I prefer that way. So we have 3 separate ways here now, separate squares here now, so 2 are marked, but I don't know where to put the last one. Here we have a separate square at the end of the row, but the remaining squares I can't figure out yet. These 5 also don't help. Here we have 2 connected squares at the beginning of the row, 1 more square here, 1 more square there, that is separate. And then I need 2 more squares, so I can in fact finalize this row like that. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I can also complete this row. Now we have one square here, I can delete this one, and two separate squares and two connected squares. The two connected squares can be positioned either here or here, so I can't do anything else in this row. So let's look at this clue now. We have one separate square left, and this one separate square can only be positioned somewhere here, because in order to complete this group of 4 connected squares, I only have 3 squares available down here. I need one more square up here. So I can delete these squares at least. And also, I can already see that this one square cannot be positioned like this, because at the bottom of this column I'm only allowed a separate square. So that's not possible. And is it possible here? Also not, because also here only one separate square. So we don't yet know if we have to mark them. We need one square here for sure. It can only be here, yeah. We can delete these squares, and we know that these have to be marked because of this clue. We have 9 squares available, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have to mark them. Okay, the group of 4 connected squares is completed also. So let's look into this group of 4 connected squares again, because it cannot be completed like this. Obviously, because we have two groups of 4 connected squares with 5 squares in them already. So this is not possible. This group of 4 connected squares can only be completed like this. I can delete this square. Now here we have 9 squares altogether in this row. So let's mark them like this. Here we can see this square has to be a separate one in this column, so I can delete it. And the group of 4 squares therefore is completed like this. Now this also completes this row here. We have 3 separate squares marked already, so I can delete these squares. And let's see, what else do we have. Let's look at the rows again. Nothing here, nothing here, and nothing here. So let's look through the columns again. Here I can't do anything more. Here I have 2 and 1 and potentially 1 here or here. Here I have 1 separate square left. I don't have anything here. 6 squares can still be positioned wherever. Also here. Here I need 1 separate square left. And here this column is complete with 3 separate squares marked already. Yes, so I can delete these squares. This column is also completed, so let's delete these squares. And this column has 1 separate square left, but I don't yet know where to put it. So I think now we can look at this row here. We have 3 plus 1 plus 1, so 1, 2, 3, gap 1, gap 1. And if we count from this side, 1, gap 1, gap 1, 2, 3. So these squares can be definitely marked. They are part of the 3 connected squares. And that completes this column here, 2, 1, 1. Yes, I can delete these squares. And also this column can be completed with 3 separate squares marked already. So I can delete all of these squares here. Okay, what else do we have? Let's see, did I miss anything on the right side of the puzzle? Oh yes, I can look into this now here. Yes, this row. We have 2 squares marked already that are separate, and we need 1 more separate square, which can only be here. I can delete this one and put the 2 connected squares here. Now in turn that means that the group of 6 connected squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could have done that before already, I think. No, I can't do anything else here or here. No, I don't think so. So let us look at going through the columns again. Did I miss anything? Here 1 and 2. 1, 1, 1. 2 and 1. Yeah, that's complete. No, I think I will have to move on with the 9 here. And yes, let's look at what happens if we would assume this one was deleted. This square was not part of the official solution, so we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares only, but we need 9, so this square cannot be deleted. We need to mark it. And this is 3 connected squares in this row, so I can delete this square. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares. I can delete this one. because then group of 6 connected squares will only move all the way through here. But I don't yet know whether I can put the remaining square here or here. So now, let's see, what else do we have? Yes, we can look into this row here now. We have 5 squares available altogether. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 squares marked already. So the question is if this remaining square has to be put here or here. Let's see what would happen if I would put it here. This would complete my group of 7 squares now, but I would still need 1 more square to complete this clue here. 6 connected squares, either like this or like that, right? So in fact I can't have the remaining square in this row here, because it would interfere with the group of 7 squares here, so I can delete this one, and the square has to be here. That completes this column here. I can delete these squares, and now I can finalize this row here with 2 more separate squares and 3 squares available. That's the only possibility then. And now I have 5 squares here already, and I need 6, so I can only reach here. I can delete this square, and also these 6 connected squares in this column can only reach here maximum, so I can delete this square. Okay, so now, oh yes, I can see I also completed this column by now. We have 3 separate squares marked already, so I can delete these squares too. But that's about it, I think. Yes. So the final steps here are looking at this clue. I have 4 squares available, and the question is basically how many of these squares I can put into this section. If I can put a maximum amount of 2 squares in here, that would mean I can mark this square here and this square here to move forward. So let's see, can I put in 4 squares? All 4 squares? Obviously not, because the group of 6 connected squares will touch the group of 7 connected squares. Okay, that doesn't work. Can I put in 3 squares like this? No, because then I have a group of, 7 connected squares already. Can I put it in like this? Again, no, because group of 6 connected squares and 7 connected squares touch. So how about this option? No, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares in this combination here in this group, so that also doesn't work. So how about this? Also not, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares in this group then. So I can only have 2 squares in here, which means the remaining 2 squares for this row have to be here and here. So now I can complete this column by deleting this square, and this column by deleting this square. So how do we move on from here? Let's see, we need to remove 6 more squares. Yeah? And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares left. Yeah? And we have 8 squares left, 6 to remove. So the final 2 squares that I can put in here, or the 2 squares that I can put in this row, are also the final squares that I have available at all. Yeah, so they can only be positioned like this. And now I have 6 squares to remove. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, that fits. So let's remove them and complete the puzzle. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching my solution to this puzzle. And well, maybe we will see each other again in another video that I will record for a nice puzzle game, as nice as SquareCells, which I really like, as you may have guessed by now. Well, anyway, thanks again for watching, and bye.